It being 5:15, I call the Economic Development meeting to order for Tuesday, April 22nd. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call has been taken.
Yes.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Bill. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adopting the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is adopted. I would entertain a motion to approve the March 25th meeting minutes as presented in the packet.
Motion to approve the March 25th meeting minutes.
Motion by Tim,
Second.
second by Colton, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I just that's okay. Okay. To approve the March 25th, or to approve the March 25th meeting minutes as presented in the packet. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition. The meeting minutes are approved. Moving to public comment. Do we have any public comment? Public comment? Public comment. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Okay, we have a consideration for an offer to purchase vacant land from Northland Electric in the Northeast Business Center, for them to purchase it from us in the Northeast Business Center.
Correct. So I emailed the committee the offer to purchase from Northland Electric. This is something that Northland has been asked to approach the city a couple months ago, and what that includes is purchasing 2 acres of land in the Northeast Business Center. I'll bring up, actually I have it in the packet. The Plan Commission on Thursday will be reviewing a CSM to look at a lot split that Northland Electric is considering. They're looking at lot 1, and I'll bring up a bigger map in the industrial park so you kind of see where that is. Oops. So if you're familiar with the Northeast Industrial Park, once the map comes up, Northland Electric has their permanent property here. The property they want to add on and purchase is this eastern or western side of this lot right here. That's what we're doing the lot split. And their plan is to put together a combination building that includes more storage space for their operations, and then 2 business suites in the building. I got it rendering with that as well. So if you look at this lot, north is actually facing to the left. So their plans is to include more storage space, operations for their operations. They want to do more assembly work inside. So their plan is to use part of the building for assembly work. And then they have 2 business suites. They have 2 business partners that they're working with. They haven't disclosed who they are or exactly what they are, but we do know that the one in the middle is going to be more of a assembly / retail counter space. And the one on the south side of the building is going to be a professional services facility. We had to adjust our zoning code to allow that. That went through the process for Plan Commission and Council, so that's all set, ready to go. Like I said, the lot split with the new CSM is going to go to the Plan Commission on Thursday for their consideration. And then for the Economic Development Committee is to consider the offer to purchase. Just a little information on that. The offer is to purchase 2 acres, that split is 2 acres for $5,092. And I've got a little cheat sheet here regarding that. So if you recall, we put together a process for selling land in the industrial park. If you remember, we are selling land at $10,000 an acre, but we have credits that are assigned, that we can assign to those purchases. So the process or the policy that we created allows for a $200 credit for every $10,000 worth of assessed value planned for the property. Based on the plan sets that you just saw, I sent that over to our city assessor. He worked his magic and came up that he believes that the assessed value for the property is going to be $745,400. So if we take that divided by the $10,000 per acre per assessed value, we come up with 74.4 units times the $200 per credit. So we get an overall credit of $14,908. So if we're selling it at $10,000 an acre, 2 acres, the original sales price would be $20,000. If we apply the credits of $14,908, we have a sales price of that $5,092 for the 2 acres. So that's where that $5,092 came up with. Also in the agreement, one thing I want to point out is we just got this yesterday from their attorney. One thing we are working on an amendment with that is line 25. So line 25 talks about this offer is binding by both parties if the accepted offer is delivered by May 2nd. Our timeline is that the committee would consider it tonight, but then it wouldn't go to the council until May 20th. So we are sending an amendment to adjust this accepted offer by the council meeting of May 20th. So that's another change with that. But I just received this offer to purchase today. I knew it was coming down the pipe. They want to get this process going. And that's what I have for you tonight.
So obviously that lot's gotta be resurveyed.
Yes, and it has been. So that CSM that I showed you in there, they put the anchor points in there already.
So who incurred that cost?
The city incurred that cost. It's our property right now.
Okay,
So we're splitting it, but you know, the sales price for the property is at least going to cover the cost of the CSM was like $1,800. So the sales price definitely covers the cost, reimburses us enough for that cost.
Any other questions? Any other discussion?
Is there any other infrastructure that needs to be?
No, there's water, sewer, storm sewer, and gas all in that area.
It's all up to it.
And I know there's
So how does that work? How would that change now that it's in, that lot's in half, and if it was another business that wanted the other half, how do you get it, or? how do you
so
get it
we
there?
are selling lot 1. We are retaining lot 2. But if you may have noticed in the development agreement, they requested a right of first refusal for lot 2, which is down here. They put a right of first refusal for 5 years for lot 2. So if someone would come up, if you want to come up and, you know, make an offer for lot 2, we would have to go back to them, you know, give them the option to purchase lot 2. And if they want it, they can purchase it. If not, then we would sell it to whoever else.
So they only have a right to first refusal for 5 years.
Correct.
Do they have to keep that property for a certain amount of time to get those credits?
They have to construct on it. So obligation is the buyer, which is Northland Electric, would have their improvements of $750,000 within 1 year day of closing. If they don't, then we would get it back. So the whole point of the credits is that, you know, we're expecting that they put some assessed value on the property for taxable value. So if they end up not doing it, then we get the property back.
But otherwise they could build it and then sell it a year later.
They could. as long as there's the assessed value put on the property.
Does the offer to purchase break down the amount? Does the purchase price break down to show how much of that price is for the real estate and how much is for the right of first refusal?
No, the right of first refusal for lot 2 would come in later on. If someone makes us an offer for 10,000 an acre, we would have to go back to Northland Electric for right of first refusal. So whatever that purchase price is, 3 years from now,
So there's case law out there that says if you're paying $5,000 for the property and you're not paying anything for the right of first refusal, the right of first refusal does not exist. It's not enforceable. So the recommendation is, from a legal standpoint, even if they were to say $5,000 for the real estate and $92 for the right of first refusal, then there is consideration, right? Contract principles, offer acceptance consideration. If the right of first refusal is not supported by any consideration, it's a gift and it's not enforceable. And there's case law out there that says that.
okay? Even if it's for the other lot, for lot 2?
I mean, you'll see that quite often, right? A farmer wants to buy a 40-acre parcel and he wants to do a right of first refusal on the second 40-acre parcel right next to it.
Mhm.
And he pays $100,000 or whatever for the first 40, but apparently nothing for the right of first refusal. He doesn't have a right of first refusal.
I'll have to go back to the city attorney and their attorney about that, and we'll have to work on that. Yeah, this was all drafted up by their attorney and our city attorney, so.
So that's something we can even vote on tonight?
This has to go to the council yet, so it's not gonna be official till
Correct,
council.
yeah.
You know, so,
I mean, as long as you're putting together an amendment anyways, or a counter offer.
Yep.
Then I would include that language in there.
cause this amendment didn't have anything in there about the price difference with that.
Cause we could throw that amended wording in there prior to council,
Correct,
so that when we vote on it, it can be.
yes. You can definitely, make a motion to refer this to council based on additional information on the right of first refusal, going back to the city attorney.
And this was for the purchase price only. There's no tax credit. So after the improvements are done, it's full taxable.
It's not in a TID, so there's no TID type of grant funding or anything. The credits came off the purchase price based on their commitment to put that assessable value on the property.
I don't know how to word it, but I'd be willing to make a motion that upon legal review or, something, because I don't, I don't know what Hans is referring to, but if I wouldn't want to try to even articulate it, but if it's upon our legal review,
So the motion, I would consider accepting a motion that, what's the word I'm looking for? That recommends to council an offer to purchase the vacant land, the offer to purchase a vacant land from Northland Electric in the Northeast Business Center with the consideration of the amendments regarding the date and the right of refusal.
Second.
Motion by Bill, second by Tim. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item is consider a TID development agreement with Breezewood Builders LLC.
All right, in your packet was a development agreement, a draft development agreement. We have some representatives from the Breezewood Builders LLC, so if you have any questions for them, they are here as well. Couple things that we are waiting on yet. You'll see there's highlighted X's in the parcel number. We're waiting on the county to combine the lots and assigned a single parcel number. If you recall, we're talking about the parcel at the corner of Wolf River Avenue and Wyman. There's two parcels there currently. The Plan Commission a while back approved to combine this into one parcel to allow the development to occur. We're waiting for the county to finish that process and then assign one parcel number for that. So that's why you see it in the agenda packet or in the agreement, the X's, we're waiting on those numbers. The other thing that you'll see in here was some dates in there. And I did get this verbally from the developer just recently. So number 4, the developer agrees to begin construction by, I didn't have the dates in there yet, but they have said now their plan is to start construction in Q4 of 2025. We originally were hoping a little bit sooner, but it ended up being with their other projects. They're planning on for the Q4 of 2025. So we verbally agreed upon, and we'll insert this number in there, that they will start their development by December 1st, 2025. Their game plan is in the first 12 months to finish building number 1, and then in the next 6 months, finish up building number 2. So if you recall, this is the rendering that they're planning for that development on Wolf River and Wyman. It's the 2 6-plex apartment complexes, and then the one facility that's on the north side will have some type of retail component or commercial component, whether it's retail or just professional services, retail, commercial, to be determined. And then there was going to be the reason for the combining the lot allows for the garage space to go over the center where the lot line currently is today. So those are the renderings, and then this is the aerial of what that looks like. Again, this lot line would be removed because the lot combination, the northern proposed building there, the southern proposed building here. Again, the southern building is just a 6-plex apartment complex, no commercial component on the first floor there. Yeah, so, but yeah, the developer would agree to begin construction. We were going to insert, we'll put insert as of December 1st, 2025. And again, based on their information, they would have substantial completion of both buildings by August 31st, 2027. That would give them the first 12 months for the first building, and then the additional 6 months and a little bit to get the second building done there. The grant agreement, they own this parcel, so we don't have to worry about any type of sales or anything with that. The grant agreement calls for, and this is in the TID district. This is why we use TID to kind of incentivize and develop areas that aren't being developed. The incentive would be a 50% reimbursement tax grant increment reimbursement based on whatever they pay, 50% back over the life of the TID, up to a maximum amount of $300,000. So we're putting a maximum amount in this just so there's, you know, some expectations of what the maximum amount would be for that. Any questions?
Do we know which one they plan on doing first?
Jose, are you gonna do the north one or the south building first? What's your plans? The north building, the one with the commercial component with it. Okay.
Thanks.
Do you have any, you don't have to, you know, say who, but do you have any leads on your commercial component yet?
People they want to like,
哦 Oh.
bakery.
Huh?
Store ticket to trying to get a Star Wars store. Don't know. People, what is the story?
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but just curious. Any other questions?
Any further discussion?
But what we would do is we would refer this to council, but we wouldn't be able to put the parcel numbers in there till we have those parcel numbers, but we would insert the dates as I suggested before. Again, December 1st, 2025 would be the developer agrees to begin construction by, and then substantial completion by August 31st, 2027. Those are the dates we're recommending.
With that property, it used to be a gas station
Mhm.
back in the day. There's really no issues with the soil. I'm guessing it's been, looked over, blessed by.
I've been told it's been cleared by the DNR. I strongly suggested for the owners to do that. I was told it was clean through the DNR, so
That's nothing gonna come back on us, correct?
it's not our property.
Okay, just
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, I would entertain a motion to consider an offer.
Is-
Yeah, sorry. I was
is this
on the wrong one.
parcel- Is this the parcel that?
Used to be pump 21. Both of those lots
Yep.
right there.
Wolf River and Wyman, that corner.
Okay, I would consider a motion to accept the TID development agreement with Breezewood Builders LLC with the amended parcel number included and the dates included as discussed, and refer that to council for approval.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Tim,
Second.
second by Hans. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now we have a presentation and discussion about creating a new city slogan.
All right, now for some fun stuff, right, Katie?
Always.
You want me to lead into it or just give it to you and you're on with it?
I'll just jump into it.
Okay, cool.
I'm a stander, so I'm bringing up the mic up here.
Does everybody know Katie?
Most people know me, so yes, thank you, Chad. Just refresher for people who don't know me. My name is Katie Hopkins and I am the city's video and marketing producer. So I'm presenting to you on a proposal for doing a city slogan campaign tonight because we have a monthly marketing meeting that includes representatives from the city, the school district, the chamber, and the idea had come out that the city is looking at getting a new city sign. And Ginger originally had the idea to why not use this opportunity to also refresh our city slogan into something that represents the heart and soul of New London. So I'm presenting to you tonight because I would like your involvement in part of that selection process. And I would like to present to you a plan that I have come up with that includes 4 phases in how we are going to choose a new city slogan. So the goals for choosing a new city slogan would be to, one, obviously secure a slogan, but to secure a slogan that captures the heart and soul of New London, that represents the values that we want it to represent, and gives a little just quick tagline that can be used on, marketing materials, anything like that. Engagement would be the second goal, spur community engagement, both physically in person and virtually on our social media. And then number 3, use the slogan, adopt that slogan via several different avenues. So, as I mentioned before, I'm proposing a 4-phase plan. Phase 1 being a creative phase where we brainstorm slogan options. Phase 2 being a narrowing phase where we slim down those options. Phase 3, voting, implementing the campaign, and choosing a slogan. And then phase 4, following the follow-through phase, using that slogan in an official capacity. I'll just briefly go through the 4 phases and who the key players are. So that first phrase, that creative phase, would be, as I said, brainstorming city slogan options, and I want to involve high school students and also the student board members of economic development. Now, I have been in touch with you via email, but we do have to discuss some more. So these are just proposed ways that that Colton and Ben could help, but we have to have some more discussions. So key players being myself, 1 to 3 high school classes, being business and marketing classes, and the student board members from economic development. So the process would be to hold brainstorming sessions led by myself and the student board members during class time. These would be 15 to 20 minutes and 5 to 10 options per class with a timeline of happening next month in May. Now, I've already met with Brian Yerke and talked to him about, is this even possible? And he believes it is. And we've already been reaching out to certain classes to get in there and get students interested in doing that. Our goal would be to generate 5 to 10 options per class, and I already went through that. And I would give a written brief to teachers to share with students pre-session, so we can keep that time commitment down, because it is getting to the end of the school year, and I would hate to just overload people with an extra task. The second phase, the narrowing phase, would be paring down those city slogan options with the help from the Economic Development Committee. And this is the part that I would like your help with if we were to go forward with this, with a timeline of this happening in June. Key players, student members, Ben and Colton, and all of you in this room. The process, I'm proposing 2 narrowing sessions, one being having Ben and Colton narrow down all of the raw options that we got from the students to around 7 to 10 options that then either I or student members or us together would present back to you in the June Economic Development Committee meeting. So a lot of words and official committee names. And then in that meeting, I would like to have the committee narrow down those options to a final 3 to 4. With those final 3 to 4, we would move into the voting process, where we would launch the public campaign for a new city slogan. Instead of doing virtual voting, I think it would actually be more beneficial to the city to have physical voting locations that are, and then highlight those locations on social media. And the voting phase would happen in July. So key players being the community, some city and chamber staff doing just like very light maintenance of this voting. And then myself on social media posting. The process would be promoting that voting process on social media, but having that voting done in city buildings, the chamber, city events. Ginger has some events that she thought that this would fit great in. So places like the municipal building. You know, in July, a lot of people are going to be going to the Aquatic and Fitness Center. And the idea of how that physical voting would happen would just to have like simple, you know, if there's 3 slogan options, 4 slogan options, you have 4 buckets and then pieces of paper that people can vote. And then once that voting ends, it's tallied up, we would announce the winning slogan and start to use it in our last phase 4 follow through. And that would be August and beyond. Key players, everyone. So anyone doing any work in official capacity for the city could use that city slogan. We could use it on the new city sign, merchandise, email signatures, marketing materials, social media posts. Crazy idea. What if we put it on one of the water towers, you know? And that's just looking going forward. And I think it's just choosing a city slogan is another great option to bring cohesion to the community, involvement to the community, and just spicing things up every once in a while, putting something new in helps people rally around it. So next steps would be to finish securing class time with Brian. Like I said, we've already met, and I've sent an email, a further email that he is sending along to teachers, and I'm following up with him this week. I would like your approval for helping in this plan. You decided, getting your backing for the plan and narrowing down slogan options on the June meeting agenda. And then before phase 1, I would also need to write a class brief that will go to the teachers and students before a brainstorming session, so that I'm not taking up too much of their time. And that is it. I would love to field any questions, if anyone has any questions. Yes.
Two questions.
Mhm.
When, uh, why is it beneficial to have voting in person versus online?
That is a very good question. What it boils down to is controlling who's able to vote, who's more in a central location. So if you're open up voting online and you just do something like a social media poll, you know, that can be shared to anyone, anywhere in the world. And it's like, how are we really making sure that the majority of those votes are community members or people who use our community? If you're doing it in person, there's in my opinion, a far higher likelihood that people who are in the community are already going to, you know, be in the community. It's during the summer, people are visiting places, so they'll already be able to be in locations here and voting.
Second question. Are we going to solicit, aside from voting, are we gonna ask folks from the community to also make suggestions for a slogan?
That is something that we have tossed around. I would love any feedback on that. Originally at the marketing meeting, we were leaning towards no, because we're thinking about like controlled community involvement, because I think this is something that easily could be like, well, why isn't this one being considered? Why isn't this one being considered? And instead communicating to the people who we would like to help us brainstorm, that they have that set core values that we would like to see broadcasted in a city slogan. But again, I would love to invite discussion on that if you have a different opinion.
Seems like you could have folks submit ideas to an email address or something, so it's not a public declaration of, hey, what about this slogan? So that you don't have those opportunities for people to like weigh in and kind of argue about it, but at least you're getting all kinds of input, or at least the opportunity for input.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think I would like to see more community involvement in the slogan suggestions as well.
Even if ultimately the students come up with the slogan,
But they've
it certainly
surveyed
would,
the
it would help
community.
them in their brainstorming sessions to come in with
Yeah.
an idea of what people in the community are already looking for or suggesting.
Correct. And I think maybe reaching out to some of the community organizations to help with their thoughts on what the slogan should be. So,
Absolutely, I do think that's a great idea. I think, like you said, keeping it narrowed down to, hey, if you have an idea, you must submit it to this email. I think
Yeah.
that's a good way.
Set a deadline.
Yep.
okay. If you have any suggestions for a slogan, Katie knows.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion? Questions?
But the first step is, first of all, are you guys on board with, looking at updating the city slogan and, getting Katie some direction? Do you like this?
Okay, you want
Process? Obviously with the input that you just gave, with a little bit more community involvement, but ultimately, do you support us working on this?
Is there an ask dollars and cents wise? Like is this sort of is there a rebranding budget, so to speak, that's being asked for or looked at?
There is not a budget,
No.
hopefully words are economical, that we don't have to pay for words type thing, but like she had on here before, it gives us the opportunity, if there is merchandise or, when we do the banners downtown next time, we can actually put those, use it for different type of marketing purposes, but we don't have a budget per se for this type of project.
So if there are places where the old slogan is still located, we're not going to spend money to replace that, for example.
Not specifically in that budget, but for different projects. So like the downtown banners, we have a budget for those, and when we replace the banners, we could use the new slogan on that. The current slogan of reflecting the pride One of the only ones I know is on the billboard on the city sign coming into town. And we've got some ideas and plans to hopefully redo that sometime in the future. Other than that, I don't know of a lot of places where that's, out there.
Except on things that are easily changed with no cost, like website.
Website,
Anything like that.
email,
Emails.
signatures,
Mhm.
things like that.
We know any of the history of reflecting the pride, how long that's been a slogan or anything like that?
I haven't had that chance, that
We
opportunity.
talked a little bit to
As long as
Chris.
I can,
Mhm.
it's been there.
What was that, Hans?
Long as I can,
Yeah.
long time.
It's something we could ask Christine
Yep,
Cross about
maybe
at
she
the
knows.
museum.
So are we looking for direction to continue with this from this committee?
Exactly.
Okay, I would entertain a motion that we offer direction to continue with the discussion and plans for creating a new city slogan.
So moved.
Motion by Tim. Second by. Was it Bill or, okay, I wasn't sure. Wasn't sure who I was hearing. So, and a second by Colton. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Katie.
you very
Thank you
much,
very much.
Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time, and Chad, thank you for guiding me through this first time presenting anything to committee.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, next on the agenda, discussion of the downtown facade improvement grant program. Chad, where are we at?
All right, so we had our first round of the facade improvement grant program for 2025. Very excited to report back to the committee that I think it's been one of the most successful rounds that we've had of the program. Like I said in my memo, I looked over the past decade, and in most years, the city awarded about 5 to 8 grants total throughout the year. In this first round, we received 11 applications, which was higher than I've seen in the past, which has been awesome. I've also had inquiries from at least 4, if not 5 other businesses showing significant interest in the program. They weren't just ready to commit to anything quite yet. So we were able to award 10 matching grants of $4,000 apiece. So that comes up to our budget that we talked about originally setting of $40,000. And then what's kind of exciting, and I put in here even more, when the applications come in, they talk about what their project is and how much they anticipate spending total on the program. So even though we're talking about a matching grant of $4,000 each, totaling $40,000, as it stands right now with the information given to me, combined with those $40,000 of the grants, it looks like on the private side, totally, they're looking at investing over $141,000 in improvements in the downtown district. So pretty exciting there that our seed money is going even further in private investments. So very exciting. So I hope we can continue that. And it's hopefully to show that people are getting excited about it based on not only this program, but the investment that we put in the downtown. The downtown street and the parking lot and things like that. Hopefully that's, proof is showing that people are getting on board with the program and improving their private buildings in the downtown, along with what we did in the public side. So very encouraging there. But as I mentioned, I have several other businesses that have expressed interest in the program, and I hate to see the momentum fade. We currently have about $118,000 remaining in our Economic Development Reserve Fund. Like I said, we earmarked $40,000 initially. Would you guys be interested in committing some more dollars for those ones that haven't had the opportunity to figure out what they were going to do yet and get the quotes and fill out the paperwork? Would you want to infuse a little bit more money into the program this year? I could see us maybe doing another 20 grand for those 4 or 5 people that have expressed interest. I don't want to discourage them. I want to continue the momentum going with this. So I kind of threw it out there as if that's something that you might be interested in. I don't want to deplete our reserve fund total because it's there to help with those, mid-year type of things that come up, that we weren't focusing on or wasn't expecting. So I don't want to deplete that total, but want to throw it out there, see what you guys think about that as an option.
It's kind of putting you on the spot,
Mhm.
but prior years, we have not spent all of the money.
Correct.
Can you, off the top of your head, kind of add up how much money we have not spent but allocated in previous years?
Give me a minute here. So 2024, we had about 12,750 remaining. 2023, we had about 27,829 remaining. Hopefully somebody's adding that up in their head.
I'm writing it down.
2022, we had 5,927 remaining. 2021, we had 7,895 remaining. And that's as far as my spreadsheets went. So the previous administration did not keep track of a spreadsheet like I did, so.
I think I missed one, but I came up with just roughly 14,000.
See what Hans gets there.
What was the second number?
2023,
Oh, I see.
One of them was a bigger,
Yeah, I
like
thought it was
27,000.
27,829.
$54,401. That's what I come up with.
I just want to say that if we did contribute another 20,000 into it, I mean, you had talking about 15 businesses downtown all doing improvements at one time. Really give a pop. So, especially with the downtown improvement, having all those businesses contribute to their businesses, I think it would really get more people interested in the downtown.
I don't see any negative impact.
I don't
It's all
either.
positive.
I don't want to see them not do improvements this year because they're gonna wait till next year, which I don't think they would. Maybe they would, but it's kind of not relevant. We want to see them do it as soon as possible. And if we're able to make a better investment in our downtown, let's go ahead and do it. That's where I'm at.
And that was our whole goal, that was our whole hope and goal of doing it downtown, is it would spark some interest and sprucing some stuff. I have to agree with Tim.
Yeah, it's,
If we said we've previously allocated 54,000 that has not been spent, that would be about a little less than half of what's in our reserve. Is that cutting it a bit close in your mind?
It's nice having that reserve fund for projects or opportunities that come up mid-year that we don't budget for. Economic development, businesses come out of nowhere, things happen. We've talked about doing the hotel study that's still on my back burner, but I still want to do. That would come out of this fund as well. I don't know off the top of my head how much that would be yet, but
and how much did you say you would feel comfortable with? Did you say 20?
I just suggested maybe 20 to see where that goes.
And if 20 runs another couple months,
I'll come back and we'll talk about it again.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna say,
kind of where
let's-
I'm at.
we can, it shows good initiative also saying, hey, look, overwhelming demand, and it shows that, people are interested.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is public record, is there any way you could kind of share with us some of the businesses that are gonna be improving so we can keep an eye out for it?
Let's see. I don't have what they're doing. Right, Valley Area Properties, that's the old John's Bar or the new Wolf River Pub.
Yeah.
That one, and don't quote me on all these because I'm doing them by memory, but that is taking the steel siding off part of the building and working on bringing back the brick. So bringing a historic value to it, which I think is really cool. Water Street Vintage, I think it was working on windows. There was some window renovations, repairs, painting that was going on with there. Dragon's Den, I believe that was new signage. They actually are changing the name from Dragon's Den to 318 Bar and Grill. So they're following through that process. So that's signage. Lynn Tank was doing repairs on the north side of her building, facing the parking lot. Now that there's a parking lot there, she wanted to make the north side of her building look better because there's a lot more visibility from the backside. So that's going on there. Old City Hall, he was doing tuck pointing. He's actually started already. You can kind of see on the east side. I know there was scaffolding and work going on there. So that's going on the east side. Coben and Company. That one, that is the old lily pad.
Yes.
They were just doing exterior modifications, paint type thing. I can't remember exactly what that one was all about, but exterior repairs. Familiar Grounds, the same thing, tuck pointing and painting on the building. K and Company, that is over by next door to the pantry. That was painting of brick and some repairs going on. I think there was some improvements on the back side and the parking lot side as well, if I recall with that. Callis, that is at 504. That's the old, or what was in there before?
Mirage.
What was
No,
the
that's
business?
yeah, that's
What was the business that just left?
that was
Was it IQ Resources?
IQ Resources.
Okay.
Yes.
There is a patio or a deck on the back that needs to be replaced. Sounds like it's getting bad, so that's going to be Riverside with that. And then Easy Street, I awarded one of his grants. He requested 2 grants, one for each one of there's 2 addresses in that building. That was for brick repair, window repairs. I think the 2nd floor window repairs, if I'm not mistaken. You put me on the spot with all the
Oh,
different
thank you very
concepts.
much. That was very informative.
Yeah, I think a really good start for the season. Encourage a lot of great improvements in the downtown.
This is very exciting. I think that it's just incredibly exciting that we increase the dollar amount, we increase for each of the grants, we increase the total and we maxed it out. And I wasn't quite expecting us to max it out. So that's really exciting. So if anybody has a motion to put forward to
Is there, on that, is there anything in that, for that grant that, so they don't put 40,000 different colors on their buildings?
There's some
To
zoning.
keep them neutral?
Yep.
You know, cause that'll take away from the downtown.
Any murals need to get approved by the plan commission, so you know that they come through the plan commission for the murals. And then I think there's some stuff with zoning. Don't quote me right off the bat, but there's some information about the zoning to prevent like a hot pink building going up, or doing something that just kind of deters from any historic value. So there is something with zoning regarding that. And if it's something that was really, if it would be something that would be really controversial in the grant, we probably wouldn't fund it because it would be something that wouldn't align with our grant process that we want to, keep the historic downtown, viable. So if you would come up and you want to paint, building hot pink, I don't know if we would fund that.
I was just asking.
Mhm.
Because my opinion, the colors of the buildings on the alley,
Mhm.
They look gaudy. I'm sorry. I mean, you got a $20 million apartment building across the river and they gotta look at the backs of those buildings.
Funny you say that because I had a tour of that building about a month ago, and the owners and the ones that are marketing with that, they were ranting and raving about the back of the buildings and how colorful they were and how they thought that was going to help their marketing for. So I think it's a matter of opinion by far, but they were actually talking very highly of the back of the buildings back there. So.
And I just,
Mhm.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to increase our grant total by $20,000 for this year for the downtown facade improvement grant program.
Make that motion.
Motion by Bill,
I'll second it.
second by Tim. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'm gonna abstain.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Any extensions? Okay,
I don't think I'm gonna be using the program this year, so I don't think I have to abstain.
okay. Okay, motion carries. Okay, we have consideration of changing the regular monthly economic development committee meetings to the fourth Tuesday instead of the last Tuesday of the month. And we do not need to make this an amendment or,
It's not in the municipal code as a ordinance. This is something
An
that the
ordinance
committee
change,
can.
yeah.
The only thing in the ordinance is that the council meeting dates and times are in the code there. The, any of the committee or the commissions, that's not in the municipal code. So as long as the committee votes on it, you're good to go with that.
okay,
And again, the thought process was some of April's a good example of it. We would have for the alderpersons and some of the ones that come to most of the meetings. We have plan commission on the fourth Thursday. And we originally had economic development on the last Tuesday. By moving it to the fourth Tuesday, there are some months that gives another full free week of meetings. I know April was one, I think, July was another one that it would open up another full week of meetings that people could plan vacations and things like that. So that was the whole logic behind it.
and I think we're the only committee that does it as a last or something like that. All the rest of them are set on the like the yeah.
First week or
first
the
week.
third or something like that.
Yeah. So this would be the fourth Tuesday of the month. Any other questions, concerns? When I looked through the calendar, it actually looked like a lot of those that would have been the last Tuesday of the month, we would have ended up having to change anyway
Oh.
with holidays and different things like that. So going to the fourth Tuesday it appears it would eliminate, at least for this year, having to change meetings.
Good point.
So, okay, I would entertain a motion to change the regular monthly economic development committee meeting to the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Make that motion.
Motion by Tim,
Second.
second by Colton. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I'll get that in there yet. Okay, motion carries. Updates and reports.
April's on vacation, so she is not present to provide the business updates. She's coming back from vacation today, but I can jump into my report.
Yep.
To the administrative report. So interesting enough, last month, and this to go along with our reserve fund, last month I reported that the Wapaka County Economic Development Corporation was not awarded that Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation Small Business Development Grant that we teamed up and applied for. But however, this past week, we were contacted by WEDC, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, and they informed us due to some very high interest in the program, they were able to find some more funds somewhere, and must have been the next in line for the grant. So now we've been awarded the grant. Or Wapaka County Economic Development Corporation has been awarded the grant. So as a result, part of that commitment that we wrote in our initial grant was to provide $50,000 for grants specifically for New London businesses. So that was not part of that 118,000. That was already removed from that 118,000, that number I gave you before. So we now will be using another $50,000 for New London businesses along with the grant money from the state. So that will be administered through the Wapaka County Economic Development Corporation with input from us, but another great opportunity and shows even more commitment for our businesses in downtown New London. So exciting there. So we'll get some additional grant money coming from the state. And then I just got in here that the city chamber and the school district, we have completed our interview process for our joint grant writer position. Pleased to announce that we hired Peyton, probably slaughtered her last name, Lanier, for the role. She currently lives in Hortonville, but has plenty of experience in New London, and I will plan on inviting her to a committee meeting in the future to introduce her to the committee. And that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. And Chad, can we make sure that we have on future agenda items updates on that grant program that the county is, whenever we get those updates, just let us know what's happening with our monies.
Absolutely.
Thank you. With that being said, reviewing potential agenda items for future meetings. We have introducing the grant writer, hotel feasibility study, the grant updates, both our grant and the county's grant, and the transportation updates, childcare and housing updates. And I would like an update on a future agenda item soon regarding our the architectural plan for the placemaking.
Yeah, I asked Ginger probably over a week ago if she's heard back from what was his name, Milo
Milo, yeah.
from UW-Madison. Haven't heard anything, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I will find out where he's at with this process and get that information by far.
Do you know, is the beer garden on track timing wise?
Kim reached out to me last week and she said, I'm ready now for closing. So I just started that process today. To contact the attorney, we'll get the process going for closing. So heads up, we'll be closing on that. Well, I mentioned that this morning. So yeah, they should be on track. Last I heard, she wants to be open, and I'm not trying to put words in her mouth, but I think the last time she talked about being open was around October this year. So whether that's still the timeline, I'm not sure.
That's what I last heard as well.
Okay, good.
And yeah, last I heard it was minor details back and forth in the process between the builders and all that stuff. And they were waiting for something from the county too.
The state.
The state.
I think they were sending in plans to the state and they're just waiting on those
Yeah.
plans to come back approved. So
Yeah.
Is that also right about the time that they're supposed to be occupying that building, the apartment building?
No,
the SC Swiderski building is late 2025, but more likely next year, early 2026.
Oh.
Yep.
when we had a tour for the fire department, what they're doing is they're finishing one floor completely at a time. And working down, they're not gonna occupy none of the building until it's totally finished. And it will be January of February of 26.
Yep.
So that's a change, what they did.
Originally, it was gonna be fall of 2025.
Yeah.
But then more recently, I've been hearing more so late 2025, but more likely, what Bernie said, more likely 2026, early 2026.
Okay. Thank you for that update.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions or potential agenda items? Okay, reviewing the next meeting date based on our changes, it will be on May 27th. That is the day after Memorial Day. Any conflicts with that? Okay, that's a go then. With that being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Bill. All those in favor?
I
Any opposed?